one stolen woman, one golden apple, and a lie so powerful it dragged kings, gods, and heroes into a war that wiped out a legendary city named Troy. This is the war that was never supposed to happen. Trojan War is the first ever war recorded in human history through stories, poems, and memory, not just ruins and bones. Everything we know comes from Homer's poem Iliad, passed orally to generations before being written. Unlike modern wars, Trojan War was not fought for land, gold, or oil. It was fought for honor, pride, and betrayal. To know the all story, keep watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Long ago, around 1200 BC or so, there was a beautiful city called Troy, sitting strong on the coast of what's now Turkey. High walls, brave people, ruled by wise King Priam. Everything started with a fight among the gods that resulted in a 10-year-long war and destruction of Troy. Long before the Trojan War, the gods gathered for a grand wedding. Everyone was invited, except Eris, the goddess of chaos. Angry and insulted, she appeared anyway and threw a golden apple onto the table. Written on it were the words, "For the fairest." 3 goddesses immediately claimed the apple. Hera, the queen of the gods, Athena, the goddess of wisdom and war, and Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty. They argued fiercely, each insisting she deserved it. The king of gods, Zeus, refused to choose. He knew any decision would create enemies. Instead, he handed the judgment to Paris, who was prince of Troy. One by one, the goddesses appeared before Paris and offered him bribes.
Choose me, and you shall have power over all the kingdoms of men. It's the love of the most beautiful woman in the world.
Hera promised him power. She said she would make him the greatest king in the world, ruler of vast lands. Athena promised him wisdom and victory. She said she would make him unbeatable in war and famous forever. Then Aphrodite made her offer. She promised him the most beautiful woman in the world to love and marry. Paris thought about it. Power, glory, or love, he chose Aphrodite. The moment he handed her the golden apple, fate was sealed. Hera and Athena turned away in anger and swore hatred toward Paris and the city of Troy. Aphrodite kept her promise. That single choice led to betrayal, rage, and war. This incident is known as Judgment of Paris. That woman was Helen. Helen was the daughter of King of Gods Zeus and Leda, married to King Menelaus of Sparta in Greece. Pollux was his brother from Zeus, and brother Castor and sister Clytemnestra were from Tyndaris. Zeus was the father of Helen and immortal husband of Leda, while Tyndaris was the mortal husband and king of Sparta. He raised Helen as his daughter. Paris went to visit Sparta, fell hard for Helen, and took her to Troy. Some say she went willingly, others say he kidnapped her. Either way, Menelaus was furious. His powerful brother Agamemnon, king of Mycenae, called all the Greek kings together. They swore an old oath to protect Helen's marriage, so they had to help. A huge army gathered. Over 1,000 ships full of warriors like Achilles, Odysseus, Ajax. 10 years of bloodshed followed, and all of it began not with a battle, but with a choice. Achilles was the son of Thetis, a sea goddess, and Peleus, a mortal king. From birth, fate followed him. A prophecy said he had 2 paths: live a long, quiet life with no fame, or die young in war and be remembered forever. His mother tried to make him immortal. In the most famous version, she dipped him into the river Styx, holding him by the heel. His body became invulnerable, except for that one small spot where her fingers held him. That weakness would later be his doom. They sailed across the sea to get Helen back and punish Troy. The Greeks landed and set up camp outside Troy's walls. The war dragged on for 10 long years. They fought battles outside the city, raided nearby towns, but Troy's walls were too strong to break. No one could get inside. The story gets really intense in the 10th year. That's what Homer tells in his famous poem, the Iliad. Achilles, the greatest Greek fighter, almost unbeatable, was mad because Agamemnon, who was brother of King Menelaus, took his prize girl away. So Achilles refused to fight anymore. Without him, the Trojans started winning. Their prince Hector, brave and honorable, pushed the Greeks back almost to their ships. Things got worse. Achilles' best friend Patroclus borrowed Achilles' armor to trick the Trojans into thinking Achilles was back. He fought hard and pushed them away, but Hector killed him. That broke Achilles. He got new armor from the gods, jumped back into battle full of rage, and chased the Trojans right up to their gates. The most terrifying moment of the Trojan War came when Achilles and Hector finally faced each other. Achilles was the greatest warrior of the Greek army, and so Hector was of Troy. Outside the walls of Troy, Achilles appeared like death itself. Hector saw him, and for the first time he ran. Achilles chased Hector 3 times around the city of Troy. Finally, fate intervened. The goddess Athena tricked Hector into stopping. The 2 warriors faced each other. Achilles threw his spear and struck Hector in the weak spot of his neck. As Hector fell dying, he made one final request: "Give my body back to my father." But Achilles, blinded by anger, refused. He tied Hector's body to his chariot and dragged it around the walls of Troy. The city watched in horror as their greatest hero was dishonored. That night, Hector's father, King Priam, secretly entered the Greek camp. He knelt before Achilles, kissed the hands that killed his son, and begged for Hector's body. Achilles broke down. He returned Hector's body, and Troy gave its hero a proper funeral. But the war was not over. Later, many other heroes came, an Amazon queen, an Ethiopian king, but Achilles killed them too. Days later, Hector's brother Paris saw Achilles fighting on the battlefield. Paris was no great warrior, but he had a bow and the god Apollo guiding his aim. An arrow flew through the air and struck Achilles in his heel, the only part of his body that was vulnerable. The wound was small, but it was enough. The greatest warrior the world had ever known fell to the ground. Achilles was dead. The Greeks would win the war, but they had lost their greatest hero, because even legends have one fatal weakness. The Greeks still couldn't break in, so clever Odysseus came up with a plan. They built a giant wooden horse and left it on the beach as a gift to the gods. Then they pretended to sail away, hiding their ships behind an island. The Trojans, thinking the war was done, dragged the horse inside the city as a trophy. At night, Greek warriors hidden inside the horse climbed out. They opened the gates. The whole Greek army rushed back and poured in. They burned Troy, killed many, took others as slaves. Helen was found and went back with Menelaus. King Priam died at his own altar. The city fell in flames. Some Trojans escaped, like Aeneas, who later helped start what became Rome, according to later stories. The Greeks sailed home, but many had tough journeys. Odysseus took 10 more years to get back. And that's the Trojan War, a huge fight started by love and jealousy, full of heroes, gods messing around, terrible losses, and one smart trick with a horse that changed everything.